News First at 9. Headlines.
From the national level to the local level, crossovers continue to be witnessed on an almost daily basis in the political arena.
As the stage for the presidential election heats up, public representatives are extending challenges, levelling accusations, and even taking time out to assume duties.
A very good evening. This is Primetime News with me, Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Madhushka Balasuriya.
We have all this and more coming up tonight, but here's a look at your headlines.
Maithripala invites the President to an open debate on good governance and democracy. The government is committed to upholding the rule of law, a statement from the President. Stage which was to host a rally of Maithripala Sirisena in Waduraba set on fire.
නිලධාරීන් මේ ස්ථානයේ නොයදවීම ගැන ඒ ස්ථානාධිපතිවරයාට විරුද්ධව විනය පරීක්ෂණයක් පැවැත්වීමට අපි කටයුතු සූදානම් කරලා තියෙනවා.
Tisatha Nayaka assumes office as the Minister of Health following his departure to the government from the UNP.
Starting off the news with the headline-making stories here at home, specifically regarding the presidential election. President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the present government is committed towards safeguarding the rule of law. The president made this statement at a meeting organized by the Lawyers Association to protect human rights.
Then අපි මොන කොයි අවස්ථාවක මේ අධිකරණයට ඇවිල්ලා අධිකරණය අපි නඩවනවා ඒ අධිකරණ ලංකාවේ නැහැ.
Now remember this. We have never interfered with the judiciary at any point. There is no court in Sri Lanka that dances according to our tunes. I need to clearly make this statement. You might be knowing how many ministers on our side were remanded. When a mistake is committed, we didn't protect the person who committed it. So thereby we clearly uphold the rule of law. For some, the dollars they receive from America is much greater than this commitment. But for us, the defense is greater than the American dollar. As a lawyer, I have always respected the court, bowed before the decisions handed by the courts. We never interfere with court affairs. I clearly state this on this occasion. Today, you have the ability to engage in your profession freely with an independent judiciary.
In another headline-making story, 76 complaints on the misuse of state property and the involvement of state employees for election propaganda activities have been lodged at the Election Secretariat. Meanwhile, a stage that was erected to host a meeting of presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena in Banduramba was set ablaze this morning.
A lorry that carried loudspeakers intended for use in the rally had also been torched, and according to a correspondent, the equipment had been completely destroyed in the fire.
If they had torched a platform intended to stage a meeting, I would like to ask why the government is so afraid in the run-up to the elections. We have been given a disadvantageous field to contest the election. We have come to the streets to ensure the victory.
Meanwhile, a group of armed men who arrived at the end of a meeting held in Mawategama Galneva had damaged several vehicles parked at the meeting. The group had fired gunshots in the air, and according to a correspondent, 4 motorcycles and a lorry were damaged in the incident. Police say that 5 individuals have been arrested in connection with the incident.
රැස්වීමක් පවත්වලා අවසන් වෙච්ච ගමන්
Just after the end of a public rally, they came and fired shots. This is the culture. They fire T-56 rifles and pistols. A commoner or a farmer can never own a weapon of this caliber.
ඊයේ රාත්‍රී ගල්නෑව ප්‍රදේශයේ පැමිණි පිරිස
5 of those who came to Galnava last night have been arrested. Of the 2 others who are yet to be arrested, one is the chairman of the Galnava Pradesh Sabha. Reports have revealed that he had fled the area. 2 special teams have been deployed to investigate the incident in Vanduraba. The OIC in charge will be subjected to a disciplinary inquiry as to why police officers were not deployed to the area after night duty. When the Vanduraba incident occurred this morning.
මේ ස්ථානයේ නොයදවීම ගැන ඒ ස්ථානාධිපතිවරයාට විරුද්ධව විනය පරීක්ෂණයක් පැවැත්වීමට අපි කටයුතු සූදානම් කරලා තියෙනවා.
Now, President Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed the IGP to take immediate action into the incident which unfolded in Vanduraba Gaol. The President's media unit states that the President contacted the IGP at once and instructed him to take the necessary legal action on the perpetrators. The President had emphasized that he would not let anyone tarnish his image or the UPFA's name by such an act.
The case filed against former Chief Justice Dr. Shirani Bandaranaike by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption was taken up today. The hearing was presided over by Colombo Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilapitia.
Although the court had previously ordered that the central bank furnish a report pertaining to this case in court, a representative from the CBSL did not appear in court today. Accordingly, hearings were postponed to the 24th of February. The magistrate ordered that the central bank report be furnished on that day. At the last hearing, the Honourable Judge ordered NDB Bank and the central bank to furnish a report on the matter. But there was no one representing both banks in court today. Only a lawyer was present. An order was issued at the previous hearing, so the defence requested that immediate steps be taken to act in line with this order. Former Chief Justice Dr. Shirani Bandaranaike spoke to the media upon exiting the court complex for the first time in the course of this case.
විශේෂයෙන්ම අවුරුදු 16 වකවානුව මට විරුද්ධව කිසිම පැමිණිල්ලක් කිසිම චෝදනාවක් මගේ රාජකාරී සම්බන්ධයෙන්.
For 16 years, not a single allegation had been levelled against me in terms of my duties. You know that for the past 2 years, since the 13th of January 2013, I have been under house arrest. I have not received a wage, a pension or retirement benefit. Even before the case was filed at the Magistrates' Court, the Bribery Commission prohibited me from travelling abroad. To this day, I do not know for what reason they have done this. At the same time, I believe there is a lot of talk today about gratitude, so I hope that justice will be served in this case in gratitude for my 32 years of service to the law.
යුක්තිය ඉෂ්ට වෙයි කියලා මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මම දේශපාලඥයෙක් නෙමෙයිනේ. මම තාමත් හිතන්නේ මම මේ රටේ.
I am not a politician, am I? I still believe that I am the 43rd Chief Justice of this country. 3 accepted international reports have been submitted. All 3 reports state that my removal was unlawful. Thereby, I have not been removed. I will not enter politics and I am not a politician.
New Democratic Front presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena openly challenged President Mahinda Rajapaksa for a debate on democracy and good governance. The challenge was extended at a public rally in Dewlapitia.
රාජ්‍ය යන්ත්‍රය සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම දූෂණයට ලක් වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ. නීති ආධිපත්‍ය බිඳ වැටිලා.
The entire governing mechanism is corrupt. The rule of law has collapsed. Dear President, if there is good governance in the country, as a candidate, please stop violating election laws. I openly challenge President Mahinda Rajapaksa for a debate on the 1st of January. Come for an open debate on democracy and good governance. You must make provisions for all state and private media institutions to be present. We need an impartial jury and security for this independent debate. I am prepared to come without even a piece of paper.
Maithripala Sirisena also said that his government would introduce a pension scheme for migrant workers and make a more efficient state service.
රාජ්‍ය සේවය ප්‍රබුද්ධ සේවයක් බවට මධ්‍යස්ථ අපක්ෂ සේවයක් බවට පත් කරනවා විතරක් නෙවෙයි.
Not only will we create an experienced and neutral state service, we also guarantee that we will also create an impartial state service to create a better economy for the grassroots level employees. Through our government, we will also create a pension scheme for the 2.4 million migrant workers so that they enjoy life better.
Opposition representatives who support the candidacy of Maithripala Sirisena also expressed their views.
Is the Mathura Expressway or the Katunayaka Expressway important to us? Does it provide us with any benefit? Does it provide a solution to the people's road issues? Has this government provided an ease in transportation to the people? What is the plan of this government? That is why we say the development of this country is a lie. They obtained too many loans for ports and airports. This government has turned the whole population into debtors. I have gone together with the president to places and engaged in demonstrations. Back then we took decisions after consulting us. But today the situation is different. He takes decisions after consulting with his family. That is what ruined him. All decisions made are different. I made this public at a UPFA meeting. At that meeting, I made a proposition. Minister G.L. Pires was the reason for it. I am disgusted to say that back then Minister G.L. Pires arrived to increase the powers of the president. I told them that all presidents who increased their powers were ruined. That is why the world has turned on Sri Lanka.
Because of their corruption, the entire economy has collapsed. We need to increase the wages of state sector employees. They cannot even obtain 3 meals a day. For 9 years, not a cent had been increased. There is no point in speaking of the schools. Education is ruined. There is no point in speaking of development too. They construct aqueducts, bridges and even schools on the basis of how much they can skim from the funds.
Speaking at a public rally in Kuliyapitiya, President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that no one will be allowed to reverse the country's journey.
The fifth public rally organized to ensure the victory of UPFA presidential candidate President Mahinda Rajapaksa took place this evening in Kuliyapitiya. I have 6 to 7 years. Without staying for those years, I contested 4 years into my tenure in order to understand your democratic views. We have to take the next step. This is to implement the journey forward of this country. We need to carry forward what we have. We cannot allow anyone to reverse this journey. The president is a minister and a president who rendered a yeoman's service to the country. It is our responsibility to protect him. Therefore, we believe that we have a good opportunity to elect him for a third time and create a good economy for this country. Because we have to do more.
A group of members of the Valapane Pradesh Sabha, including its chairman Jayanta Gunaratne, extended their support to New Democratic Front presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena at a public rally in Balapitiya this evening.
The Valapane Pradesh Sabha is governed by the United People's Freedom Alliance, and its chairman Jayanta Navaratna and member Jagat Kumara extended their support to Maithripala Sirisena. Meanwhile, UPFA Rathgama Pradesh Sabha member Jnanapala Silva also extended his support to Maithripala Sirisena.
We decided to step onto this stage on behalf of the children of this country. We saw how Hirunika Premachanda stood tall and stepped out as the new Vihara Mahadevi. Solangarachi, who is also a chairperson, stepped out.
එයා බය නිසා එයාගේ තීන්දුව නැතු ඉන්නවා. නමුත් අපි ජීවිතයේ තීරණාත්මක තීන්දුව ගන්න ඕනේ. මේ තීන්දුව මේ රට වෙනුවෙන්, මේ දරුවන් වෙනුවෙන්, මේ රටේ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය වෙනුවෙන් අපි ගන්න තීන්දුවක්.
A business forum titled Momentum, which is Asia's largest synchronized forum, was held in Colombo yesterday under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The event was organized by professionals for a stable Sri Lanka.
Momentum, a forum organized to highlight the significance of stability to the business and economic landscape in Sri Lanka, was graced by a number of distinguished guests, including President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The forum was held simultaneously in 4 locations and marks the first time in Sri Lanka that a synchronized forum was held.
My vision and action in the second term has been to restore economic stability, ensure a major growth of the economy, expand investment opportunities, and thereby ensure social growth throughout the country. A major aspect of this is a long-term infrastructure development that you see in all parts of the country, embracing the entire nation from east to west, north to south, and in the center. This covers both urban and rural sectors and seeks the transformation of the country into a place of pride in modern times.
Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa addressed the conference from one of the events held in Colombo.
It is critical to realize that our present peace and stability is not simply due to our having defeated the LTT and its terrorism in May 2009. There are still many threats that besets our nation, and attempts continue to be made by various parties to undermine Sri Lanka's peace, security and stability, and especially the sovereignty. The foremost duty of the government is to ensure that such threats are contained and eventually eliminated. Unless the security of the nation and its people is ensured, no true progress is possible.
Several local government representatives of the Jatika Hela Urumaya pledged their support to President Mahinda Rajapaksa ahead of the forthcoming presidential polls. At a conference held to introduce the representatives, Udaya Gammampilla stated that a Buddhist political party will emerge in the future.
17 local government representatives pledged their support to the president today. There are 8 monks, 7 are here. Only the monk representing the Mulagala Pradesh Sabha in Polonnaru is absent. The reason behind his absence is quite clear. All of us present here are those who are present on behalf of the JHU's inaugural policy, people who hold the policies of the party to the letter. A Buddhist party is not a party that talks about Buddhist principles. It is a party that implements those principles. It is a party that speaks with the precept of Maitri. Unfortunately, that is devoid from the party today. Today we have decided to create a new party that upholds the inaugural principles of the Jatika Hela Urumaya rather than talk about Buddhist principles.
ජාතික හෙළ උරුමය ආරම්භ කරපු මුල් ප්‍රතිපත්ති රැක ගැනීම සඳහා නව දේශපාලන පක්ෂයක් බිහි කරයි. මේ වසර ගණනාවක ජාතික හෙළ උරුමය
For years, the Jatika Hela Urumaya loved the country, worked with hope in the country's future, and rescued the country from an era of terror. It functioned as a party that put the country in the right direction. The JHU took a decision that was harmful to the government, and therefore we were clearly against it.
The Jatika Hela Urumaya convened a media briefing today to express the party's views on the representatives who pledged their support to the government today.
ගම්මපිල මහතා වැනි කෙනෙක් මේ ආකාරයට කටයුතු කරයි කියලා අපි කිසිවිටකත් විශ්වාස කළේ නැහැ.
We never expected someone like Udaya Gammampilla to act in this manner.
එතුමාගේ නමට තමයි ඈඳිලා තිබුණේ ඇල්වතුරත් ඉවලකොන්නේ කියලා.
We can clearly state that he did not leave the party based on policies. Either they show the cane or they show files. This is the state of the country's political backdrop. The expectations we hold with the exit of His Excellency is the end to corrupt politics. He has turned his back on those who voted in his favor, from the poorest man to the agricultural laborer. Gamanpila is today a victim of his form of politics. He is fulfilling a contract of the government. The government is engaged in a heinous act to divide our party and include the members with the government. In such a situation, I state that since this is our party, we will act according to the policies of our party. We won't at any cost act in a hateful manner towards Gamanpila. But today he is acting in vengeance against us. But I would like to state that this party was built on its policies and principles. Therefore, we will protect our party and work according to our policies and principles.
The Batticaloa District Chief Organiser of the TMVP or Tamil Makkal Vidutale political party, K. Mohan, also announced today that he would support the campaign of New Democratic Front presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena.
There must be a change at this moment of time. Keeping this in mind, we have decided to pledge our support to the emerging government. We are living with several expectations in mind. The people of Batticaloa are living lives while battling with Mother Nature. They are faced with several hardships due to several impacts on Mother Nature. Thereby, we requested the government to provide these people with employment within an area and make sure they are entitled to a good wage. But until this very day, they have not made a single consideration of this request. We made the same request to the emerging government. They responded positively. Therefore, we would like to state that the people of Batticaloa will clearly give the message that they do not accept President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The people of the country are being lied to. They reduce the value of foreign loans by 50% and then lie, saying that the country has no problems in concern with the loans obtained. When we get hold of the state treasury on the 9th, we will reveal to the people how much money remains. There are no dollars, only cents. They say that approximately only 30% of the GDP is loans. But we can state with responsibility that it is more than 60% of GDP. So it is clear that this is a lie. In Rupavahini, they continually run an old story of Maithripala Sirisena praising President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Firstly, I would like to state that this violates Section 81. In addition to that, it is unethical. People change over time. Maithripala Sirisena himself has changed. Even President Mahinda Rajapaksa has changed. In 1989, President Mahinda Rajapaksa left Geneva. Today, Mahinda Rajapaksa is subject to several international blows. I would like to know if it is the same Mahinda Rajapaksa. So, Maithripala praising his leader back then is fair back then, but not today.
Tissa Thanayaka, who left the United National Party and crossed over to the UPFA, assumed duties as the Minister of Health today. Tissa Thanayaka assumed duties at the Ministry of Health at South Suripaya. Ministers and MPs, including the Deputy Minister of Health, Lalit Dissanayaka, together with the officials of the Ministry of Health, were in attendance at the event.
ගරු අමතුමනි හුඟක් අය හිතුව ඔබතුමානකට මම යයි කියලා. හුඟක් අය වරමුත්
Honorable Minister, most of them thought that I will leave my position when you come. But truly I was really happy, because I was truly very happy when I heard that you crossed over to the UPFA. We were saddened when we heard that our former minister left us. We will render our fullest support and cooperation to you. It may be because of the Lost Medicine Act, or it could be the warning on 80% of the cigarette cartons. But we never took money from the tobacco company to construct rest houses.
හැබැයි අපි කවදාකවත් අපේ ජනතාවට ගිමන්හල් හදන්න ටොබැකෝ එක සල්ලි ගත්තේ නැහැ. 2015 මේ ශේෂ්ත්‍රයේ සංවර්ධනය සඳහා දියුණුව සඳහා අතිවිශාල මුදල් ප්‍රමාණයක් වෙන් කළා දෙනවා. ජනාධිපතිතුමා මට මේ
A huge amount has been invested for the development of this field in the year 2015. When the President appointed me, he told me that the whole amount located for this field was not utilized by the Ministry of Health last year. Because of that, the President, when handing me my appointment letter, requested me to make arrangements for the finances allocated for next year to be spent on behalf of the people, for the service of the people, and for the aspirations of the people. Hospitals are not impure places when you could cover your nose and walk. Keep it elegant and attractive. I have an aspiration to implement a national program in 100 days.
ජාතික වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අපි දින 100ක් ඇතුළත ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමේ අභිප්‍රායක් මට තිබෙනවා.
Presidential candidate of the Okkama Vasio Okkama Rajavaru organization, MB Thaminimulla, convened a media briefing in Kandy yesterday.
This is not about bringing the problems to the people here and then solving it. What is taken to the country is the modeling done by one person. That is what is enacted. This problem will never be resolved with the transfer of power from A to B and thereafter to someone else. The person who cuts grass will pay attention to the lawn. The person who cuts firewood will not care about gas. You cannot entrust this to a professor and expect him to do that job. The professor must do what professors should be doing. Our voters are cornered. They have been cornered in various ways.
In more local news, the case pertaining to the obstruction of transmission during the telecast of the Satana political program featured on our sister channel Sirsa TV on the 22nd of last month was taken up in the Supreme Court today. The hearing was presided by a bench comprising of Chief Justice Mohan Piris and Justices Rohini Marasinga and Buanaka Aluihara. The court informed that notices be issued for the respondents in the petition to appear before the Supreme Court on the 6th of February. The petition was filed by attorney at law J.A. Manju Sri Chandrasena. The petitioner has requested court to order the respondents to pay compensation to the tune of 10 million rupees for the obstruction of transmission during the Satana political program aired on Sirsa TV. The respondents in the petition are the Sri Lanka Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the Minister of Mass Media Information, Kehelia Rambukwala, and the Secretary to the Ministry, Charita Herath.
Welcome back. The 2014 National Business Excellence Awards Night was held last evening in Colombo.
2014 National Business Excellence Awards were conducted by the National Chamber of Commerce for the 11th consecutive year. Awards were presented at the event to a number of companies representing a broad spectrum of fields. Australia's High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Robin Moody, was the chief guest at the event.
And Australia is committed to supporting Sri Lanka to achieve these results by promoting trade between our countries, increasing Australian investment to Sri Lanka, and through our bilateral aid program. One of my key objectives as High Commissioner is to see new investments from Australia enter the market, while continuing to promote Australia as a key source of imports. For our part, Austrade and the Australian High Commission will continue to encourage Australian business to actively explore opportunities in Sri Lanka.
Tonight on Newsline, Newsfirst Nadeem Majid speaks to UMP parliamentarian Iran Vikramaratne on development in the country.
Now, the war is over. Sri Lanka is moving forward on new paths. What should really be happening now?
I think the people in this country had great expectations after the end of the war. And I think now we have a crisis of expectations. They were expecting a peaceful country. They were expecting a country in which they could express themselves freely, whether they were the media, whether they were just civil society. They were expecting economic progress.
Mr. Vikramaratne, why do you question economic progress? We've seen a lot being done in terms of facilitating that economic progress.
I think when you talk about economic progress, we have to really talk about how people's lives have actually improved. Certainly, infrastructure has improved, particularly if we talk about roads. There are roads in this country. But very little else has improved. For example, right, if you talk about jobs, if you talk about incomes, one of the biggest problems people face today is not only people who have low incomes, but even in middle class families, the salary that you get in a family, right, is insufficient to meet the basic needs in the home. 60 years ago, we were an economy only second to Japan. That has changed today. We are at the bottom of the Asian League today. What happened to us? We lost our way somewhere down the road. And I'm sick and tired of people comparing us with countries in South Asia like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and so forth. Because we have been way ahead of them in terms of incomes, in terms of our living styles, we have been way ahead of it.
Who should we be comparing?
I mean, in the interim, we should be comparing ourselves with the richer parts of Asia. But I think we are a small country of 20 million people. We can easily aspire to be among the richest, among the happiest people on the globe.
You say that we lost our way somewhere along the line. Do you think it's because we went from being not just a welfare state, but a handout state?
I think that, having basically subsidies distributed across the board doesn't really help. It, in fact, can be a disincentive. It must be targeted. Handouts must be targeted where they should go. But what people are looking for is not handouts. They're looking for opportunity. That is the problem. This government has not been able to create that opportunity. Where are the jobs?
Your comment on the roads, the highways, that
yes.
reminds me of a recent comment made by a senior public official, where he said that in the 1950s, when the US started putting up its interstate highways, there were a lot of people who were critical of it. But then, until 82, it really didn't reap any benefits. So he was saying you need to have a more long-term approach, even to the building of roads. So do you agree with that?
Let me be absolutely clear. We are not opposed to hard infrastructure. We are not opposed to roads. We need the roads. What we are opposed to is the wastage and the corruption that is going into it. So who are the beneficiaries? The beneficiaries are going to be the lending institutions, in this case mainly overseas institutions and the Chinese government, and it's going to be those who actually hog the contracts because they have the benefit of it. And then it's going to be people like myself, politicians, who are in the decision-making process, who are going to benefit from those contracts. That is the problem with these contracts. That is what we must put an end to. We must put an end to the corruption that's going on.
Well, my Christmas is just around the corner and you can feel the spirit of Christmas everywhere in Colombo. Christmas decorations have been put up in the environs of the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo too.
That's right. Newsfirst Stephanie Lazarus is currently on location where the spirit of Christmas is in full swing.
Well, Christmas has definitely arrived on Dawson Street with so much glamour and the lights that is around us. And obviously this huge, massive Christmas tree that is erected behind me. So Christmas has not only taken center stage in Colombo, but also close to our head office here in Colombo. So head over here. There's scores of people arriving here. Head over here as there is so much of Christmas related activities lined up for you, just for you, for your viewing pleasure.
To retire from international cricket or not?
This was a question that was posed to Sri Lankan batsman Tilakaratne Dilshan after Sri Lanka recorded a series win over the visiting English and in the 7th and final ODI at the R. Premadasa Stadium yesterday.
It was an emotional ODI here at home, as it was the last time that Sri Lanka's Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardene played a limited over encounter on home soil. Sri Lanka defeated England by 87 runs to win the series. Kumar Sangakkara, who scored 33 runs, entered the record books as the player with the highest number of ODI runs in a single calendar year. What's most significant was that the final English wicket was a stumping by Kumar Sangakkara off a Mahela Jayawardene delivery. Journalists questioned opener Tilakaratne Dilshan as to whether he too would retire from cricket following the announcement from Mahela and Sangakkara. Dilshan was also man of the match yesterday, scoring his 18th ODI century and picking up 3 key wickets.
Now, Mahi, I'm sure all of our viewers are keeping a close eye on Christmas.
As the festival of giving draws closer, we'd like to leave you with a few images of the Christmas decorations that have been set up on Braybrook Place, that's just around the corner, where the decorations are, of course, put up by the Capital Maharaja organization. Thank you very much for joining us on the Bulletin tonight. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Madhushka Balasuriya. Take care and have a very pleasant evening.